Hey everyone, thank you so much for stopping in this video. My name is Ivan Albrook, and today we're going to just go through a tier list of what is to come at the European International Championships this weekend in London, England. So we have an interesting meta right now. We're in the middle of the Prismatic Evolutions format, and there are some decks that have popped up and done well. There are some decks that have kind of fallen off. And I think as we go through this list, we'll realize what decks probably have the best shot at winning. So if you guys like this content, leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Let's get right into it. So over the last couple weeks, at the Puerto Rico special event and Merida regionals, Miraidon has won both events. This deck has done very well over the last couple events, as I just mentioned. I think this deck is pretty solid. It probably has the biggest target on its back, however. So I don't know if it's going to win, but nonetheless, it's an A tier deck right now. I don't think anyone can really deny that. At the lowest, it's probably high B tier, but I'm just going to throw it in A tier. Miraidon's a really solid deck, so I think it's going to do... a couple people will do well with it. I can't say that it's going to top 8, but you can't really predict what's going to top 8 and what's not going to top 8. So we shall see here. Let's talk about Regidrago. So Regidrago, in previous formats, like the Surging Sparks format, was the most dominant deck, top of the food chain. Now with Badu installed in a lot of decks, this deck's play has gone down, and I think it has a decent meta for it, but with Dragapult and Gardevoir being very popular, I can see it seeing a lot less play. I don't think it's a horrible deck by any means, but I think it gets a lot worse with Badu in half the decks. So Regidrago, we're just going to throw in B tier. Pidgeot Control, kind of the same thing. Like Badu can kind of slow down Pidgeot Control, kind of prevent them from getting that Pidgeot to, fetch whatever they need. It's also a very, very low percentage deck play-wise. I don't think it's going to dominate, a tournament this big, especially with Badu being played and with Dragapult being popular. I don't know if it has a great matchup into that, but Pidgeot Control, just going to throw in B tier. Ancient Box, it's not a fantastic meta for it. I've been trying to make it work on my own time, and it's just not great. Dragapult just absolutely dominates you. Your matchup into Guardy it's winnable, but it's not fantastic. I'd say they're probably favored. Your Miraidon matchup is okay, and your Lugia matchup isn't fantastic. So Ancient Box, it's not a fantastic meta for it. I could see maybe one making like a top 64 or something like that, but I can't see this deck winning the event. Same with Charizard. I can't see this deck winning the event. I think it's just with Badu being popular, I think just denying the evolution of Charmander into Charizard or Pidgey into Pidgeot, it's just not great. And your Miraidon matchup, it can still lose to Miraidon if they set up well. I think it doesn't have a great Lugia matchup. It's just not great right now, in my opinion. Cloth, I think, is pretty good. I think it can beat Miraidons, it can beat the Dragos. I haven't played a ton of this deck recently, but it's not bad by any means. I think it's not going to see a ton of play at the event, but I think it's solid. Like, it's in a solid spot, in my opinion. Gouging Fire. This deck got second at Merida. I think it's a B tier deck. I don't think it's fantastic. I don't think it's the worst deck in the format, but it's certainly not the best. I'm probably just going to keep it at the bottom of B tier. It got second at Merida. It probably has a solid Miraidon matchup. And it probably beats you know, like Lugia and stuff like that. I haven't really played the deck much. I've played a couple games with it. It's a decent deck, not my style though. And I can't see it winning EUIC. I can see, you know, kind of the same thing as Ancient Box. I could see it making a top 64, maybe a top 32 if it can cheese its way through, but Gouging Fire will probably not win the event. That's just my opinion. Raging Bolt, you know, there's always that one guy that does well with Raging Bolt, so we're just going to throw it in the middle of B tier here. It's not fantastic into Badoo. It slows you down quite a bit. So like your Guardy and your Pult matchup will be mostly in their control. If you're playing Raging Bolt, it'll be in the Guardy or Pult's favor. However, Raging Bolt has been known to sneak its way into top 8s, and you know, it's won a regional here or there. It's not a horrible deck. I think it's B tier. Lugia, it's going to be A tier. I think it's a lot better for Miraidon this event. Just because Miraidon will probably have that big target on its back, like I mentioned. So you could probably see a couple Lugia players beat some Miraidon players, because it is possible. Lugia can definitely beat Miraidon. I don't think the matchup is as bad as people think it is. Miraidon is favored, but not by a lot. It's a pretty close matchup. And I think Lugia will thrive against the Dragapults and the Gardevoirs and such. Goldengo, it's not a great format for it, in my opinion. I think just Badoo kind of slows you down, and, you know, the Guardy matchup is so-so. I think your Pult matchup is just not good at all. Goldengo's probably in that C tier. Pult Thorns, I'll just throw in D tier. I like the Pult aspect is good, but anything Iron Thorns in this format is just plain bad because of how good Pult is. Pult destroys Thorns. So, Pult Thorns just, it might, you know, again, you might see one that makes day 2. There's always something that makes day 2, right? And I just think this Pult Thorns deck, you know, you can see maybe one making day 2 somehow, but it's not great for this tournament by any means. It's just not good in this meta. But something that is good in this meta is Snorlax. With the popularity of Miraidon going up, it's a fantastic matchup. And you have a decent Lugia matchup if you play the Sinnohs. Your Guardy matchup is winnable. Pult, it's winnable, but it's not great, not fantastic. And it thrives against, you know, it thrives against Drago, thrives against Bolt, you know, all these decks that, you know, don't play a ton of switching options. Snorlax is pretty damn good for this event. I could probably see a couple making like top 16, maybe one in top 8. I think the deck's really good. So Snorlax A tier. We're gonna throw Guardian S tier. It's the best deck in the format, in my opinion. It just has a good matchup into mostly everything. Your Miraidon matchup is pretty even, in my opinion. If you play Klefki and Gardevoir, that just pretty much stops whatever they're doing immediately. And if you start it, like, their start's just gonna be horrible. You just evo into your Kirlias, and, you know, you kind of just control the game from there. Gardevoir is really good. If you play Manaphy, I think your Lugia matchup's closer. There's lines into Snorlax. You have a decent Drago matchup. You have a good Bolt matchup. You know, I think Guardy is just the best overall deck, and it's a deck I could see winning the event. Because a good Gardevoir player can go all the way, like, just like that, you know, like, Guardy has just been so good for so long. Dragapult, I think, is probably, like, next to Gardevoir, as of right now. Pult is probably, in my opinion, going to be the most popular deck at the tournament. A lot of people are picking it up. And I think the deck will probably be pretty successful. I could see it, like, maybe one or two making top 8. I'm not predicting it, but I could see it happening. Because it's got a good Guardy matchup. It's got a solid Lugia matchup. It has a probably positive matchup into Snorlax. Your Miraidon matchup, if you set up good, is probably fine. And against everything else, you know, you have the opportunity to win. And I think Pult is going to be a lot of people's pick to win the tournament. Archaludon, I think this is probably one of the biggest sleeper decks. I don't think it's going to have a large percentage. It'll probably be like a 4 or 5% deck at the tournament. But I could definitely see this deck doing well. It's got a good Miraidon matchup. Has a great Lugia matchup because, you know, if you're playing no rats, then the Archaludon player will probably beat you. It has an okay Pult matchup. It has an okay Guardy matchup. So, like, it's definitely winnable against both of those decks. And then Ceruledge, I think this deck isn't bad at all. I think this deck is, you know, you're going to see a couple cheese their way into D2 and maybe a top 64. It's been doing well at these last couple events. I think one snuck into top 8 at Puerto Rico. So I can see this deck having a solid performance. I can't say it's going to make top 8 or top 16, maybe a top 32. But yeah, I think the deck's pretty solid. So let's go through the percentages here. I think Guardy will probably be maybe like a 10% deck. I don't think it's going to be any higher than that because I think a lot more people will pick their Dragapult to be a lot more played. Miraidon will probably be like that 13% deck. It could, like, I feel like Dragapult and Miraidon could probably swap places. I could see Miraidon being 15% and then Pult being 13%. I think those are the good percentages. Lugia will probably be like 9. Lax will probably be like, just say 3. No, we'll do 2.5. Why not? Archaludon will be probably 5. Bolt will be like 6 probably. Drago probably like 2%. Pidgeot maybe 1%, or maybe like I'll give it 0.5%. I don't think a lot of people are gonna play it. Ceruledge will be like, I'll say 4%. Gouging Fire, again, it's not gonna see a ton of play, so I think it's gonna be like a 2%er. Ancient Box 3, Goldango 4, Charizard 3, Bolt Thorns will just say 1%, and then Cloth, you know, we'll give it like a 3%. I think that's probably right. Maybe not all correct, but I think it's pretty solid percentage wise as a guess. I just think Dragapult has done well in a lot of online tournaments. It did well at Merida. There were, I think, 2 in top 8, and then there were 4 that just bubbled out, like 9th through 12th, that just bubbled out. So Dragapult will be pretty popular in my opinion, and I think the deck's really good. A lot of good players are playing it right now, and same with Miraidon. It's a good deck, but I think this will be the deck that people will want to beat this weekend. Probably these top 2 decks right here, percentage wise. And I think Gardevoir, you know, it's a popular deck. Not the most popular deck, but it's a popular deck and a lot of people will play it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, if you guys disagree with anything I said, leave your comment down below. What do you think is going to win the tournament? I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, I think a deck that, you know, might surprise some people will win. I think Lugia is going to win. And, you know, that's probably just because I think it has a good, you know, good position in the format. It's good into Pult. It's pretty good into Guardy. It has a winnable Miraidon matchup. So I could see this deck thriving. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. I might do a recap video for EUIC afterwards and just go over the results and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what unfolds that weekend. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.